Zaganos, that city is before us. For centuries, no one has been able to conquer it. Then we shall try. May Allah be our helper. Look at those walls. They are unlike anything we have faced. Every wall has a weakness. And you believe we will find it? The walls are stone. Then what can bring them down? A cannon the world has never seen. Then let us build it. They have blocked the Golden Horn. The chain is too strong. Then we will move our ships over land. Over land? Tomorrow will not be an ordinary battle. Then what will it be? A test of everything we believe. We will not retreat. And if we fail? Allahu Akbar!
Mehmed had made his decision. Constantinople was not merely a city, it was the greatest test of his determination. Across the Ottoman camp, preparations began. Soldiers, horses, supplies, and weapons gathered for the coming siege.
Then came something extraordinary. A massive cannon designed to challenge walls that had resisted armies for centuries.
Yet Constantinople remained protected by enormous fortifications, built to withstand attack after attack.
But when one path was closed, a new strategy was born, one that seemed impossible.
And the sea offered another obstacle. A massive chain blocked the entrance to the Golden Horn.
At sunrise, the defenders faced a shocking sight. The Ottoman fleet had appeared where no ships were expected.
Now the city was under pressure from several directions. The siege had entered its most dangerous stage. Under the cover of darkness, Ottoman ships were hauled across wooden tracks over land.
The city stood before him, powerful and unbroken. But in his heart, the impossible had already begun to feel within reach.
For centuries, those ancient walls had protected the city. Its defenders believed they could never be broken. For centuries, those ancient walls had protected the city. Its defenders believed they could never be broken. But he understood one truth. Even the strongest wall can fall when the mind behind it loses hope.
As the army drew closer, the silence became heavier. Everyone knew there would be no turning back after this moment.
Then the order was given. The army moved forward, and the greatest siege of his life had begun.
From the walls, the defenders watched the approaching army. Their confidence remained strong, but uncertainty had begun to enter their hearts. The soldiers began preparing their positions. Tents rose, weapons were arranged, and the battlefield slowly transformed into a vast camp. Night finally fell. Beneath the stars, thousands waited in silence, knowing that tomorrow could change history forever. Before dawn, the camp slowly awakened. Soldiers prepared their weapons, knowing the first great test was about to begin.
Every position was chosen carefully. The army was not rushing toward victory, it was building the path toward it. Then the first cannon was positioned. For a moment, the entire battlefield seemed to hold its breath. The order finally came. Soldiers stepped away from the cannon. Every eye turned toward the silent walls.
Then came the thunder. The first cannonball crashed against the ancient walls, shaking the ground beneath the waiting army.
For the first time, the defenders saw the impossible. Their mighty walls could bleed, break, and perhaps one day fall.
But one strike would never be enough. The siege had only begun, and the walls still stood between the army and victory.
The harbor seemed impossible to cross.
But when one path was blocked, a different path had to be created.
That night, a daring idea took shape. If the ships could not enter the harbor, the land itself would become their road. Under the cover of darkness, the soldiers began their impossible task. Every movement had to remain silent. By morning, the impossible had become real. Ottoman ships appeared where the defenders never expected them. The defenders could hardly believe what they saw. The harbor they trusted was no longer beyond reach. A new fear spread through the city. The enemy had found a way around the defense they thought was unbeatable. Outside the walls, the Ottoman army saw the change. Their impossible plan had opened another front against the city. As darkness returned, the army prepared once more. Every soldier knew the next assault could be their hardest yet. But the city was still standing, and the next battle would demand more than strategy. It would demand sacrifice.
The siege had entered its final stage. The walls were damaged, the defenders exhausted, but the city still refused to surrender. The defenders saw the movement below. They knew this was no ordinary attack. The final struggle was approaching. Then the army began to advance. Slowly at first, then with unstoppable force, thousands moved toward the walls. Arrows filled the sky, but the soldiers kept moving. Every step brought them closer to the walls. At last, the first soldiers reached the walls. Ladders rose, shields locked together, and the assault became relentless. The defenders fought with everything they had. But beneath the pressure, their defenses were beginning to break. One section finally gave way. Through the smoke and dust, the attackers saw an opening into the city. The moment they had waited for had arrived. The army surged toward the breach, while the defenders made their final stand. Inside the city, the defenders were pushed back. The battle had moved beyond the walls and into the streets. After years of dreaming and months of struggle, the impossible city was finally within reach. The banners rose above the walls. A city that had resisted for centuries now stood under a new dawn. But victory was not only about taking a city. It was the moment a young ruler proved that impossible dreams could become history. He had entered the siege as a young dreamer. He emerged from it as the conqueror of a city remembered by history. And on that day, the world remembered his name, not simply because he conquered a city, but because he never surrendered to the impossible.